am I? And why on earth am I here? We are talking about creativity and entrepreneurship and business. Do I really do any of these things? I'm not quite sure, but I tell people all the time, I am in the business of changing lives. Originally, I'm from Flint, Michigan, and as you can see, I love a good suit. That's why I had on that wonderful suit in the first picture and this fabulous suit this evening. Thank you. Originally from Flint, Michigan, product of a single parent home. Not really supposed to make it. My mother was the first person in our family to go away to college and was kind of ridiculed for doing it. Everybody else worked at General Motors. Was she too good to do that? But she encouraged me. I had to go away to school. So how did this average student, and I'll be very clear, I was average, go on to get a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and ultimately a PhD? Well, I did it because I found my passion. I knew that I wanted to help others, but more importantly, I just wanted to prove a few people wrong. I wanted them to know I can be a leader. And so how do you lead when you pack up and you leave DC after 22 years and you come to Iowa State University? You leave everything you know and you move in the middle of a pandemic. Makes a lot of sense, right? We'll see. I pack up and I move here. 2 days later, a derecho. What is a derecho? My family freaked out and so did I didn't know anybody. I was here. I had 3 days with no power and I knew absolutely no one in the city. Had I really made the right decision? Eventually the school year begins and I'm starting a new job and a new academic year, trying to create a new normal. But deep down in my heart knew there was nothing really normal about this. So how do you lead? How do you lead when you're meeting with students and they're asking you all sorts of questions, day in and day out? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And you don't have the answers because you're asking yourself the very same question. How do you stand up in front of them with a straight face and say, we're gonna make it? And then sometimes at night, I'm laying in bed wondering, are we really gonna make it through this? What's gonna happen? And then the semester goes on. I tell people all the time, colleges are microcosms of the larger society. So when major things happen, they also find themselves, and we see it happening on campuses. So we're in the middle of a major political election, and we're seeing different students act out, post things, protest, and all sorts of things happening on campus. I was tired after that. How do you lead when you're tired? You go home. You surround yourself with people who love you. You wear matching pajamas at Christmas. It makes you feel good. You get your cup full. You think you're ready to come back after the holidays. And then 1 week after you get back, another major event hits. How do you lead in a time of turmoil? How do you balance your own emotions and feelings when you worked inside that very building 25 years ago? How do you speak when you have a loss of words during this time? And how do you lead and explain it to the students? You move on to Black History Month. And here I am, the highest ranking person of color on this campus. So everyone looks at me and says, what should we do? You tell us what to do. You represent. But what can I really, truly say? The next month, we move into Women's History Month. And I'm excited about this panel. A whole presentation planned by students. But then the panel becomes writ with controversy because of a tweet that a woman of color made about Black History Month just a month before. People are looking at me wanting to know what I think, but do I really have the power to speak up? The next thing we know, the thing that had us gripped and all watching our TVs just the summer before, comes back up again. How do you lead when you're battling in yourself what to say? And the university says, Dr. Younger, can you help us create a statement? We need to issue a statement to our campus. You make it to the end of the academic year, but now it's probably going to bring just as much uncertainty as the year prior. But how do you lead? How do you lead when there's tons of questions being asked? You're doing the hard work to prepare for these students to come back and return, but you're struggling with your own internal battles, your own questions, your own anxieties, your own uncertainties. How are we going to be able to do X? What's going to happen if Y happens? Where are we, and what is this going to look like? August rolls around. How do you lead when 31,000 human beings return to Ames, Iowa? They're excited, but they're anxious. Their parents are coming up to you saying, is my child going to be safe? What's going to happen if? And you're battling and struggling with your own thoughts during this time. This, my friends, is how you lead. First and foremost, you put your big girl panties on. You recognize it's not about you. It's about the students that you serve each and every day. You lead by example. You dig deep from within to figure out what it is that they need to hear. You remember the prize at the end. You face those fears head on. You celebrate the small victories along the way. You lead with the support of others, because there's no way we can do this type of work alone. You lead knowing that you're in part of a very important team. And because this is SheTalks and I'm feeling real woman power, I'm so proud to be part of a team that's led by a woman. And the support that she gives me each and every single day makes my job just a little bit easier. And so ultimately, leadership can be hard. And I will be very clear, it is not for the faint of heart. But it takes faith, determination, strength, courage, wisdom, and support from others. We cannot do this work alone, and you definitely can't lead in a time of crisis by yourself. I am convinced that every single person in this room is a leader. You just may not know it yet. Thank you.